Oh, Jesus, help me.
What would you like help with, my son?
I like the way you're eating that candy bar, oh Lord.
Are you coming on to me right now?
I'm just watching you eat ice cream, and it seems very, I don't know, sensual for God.
Jesus. But it's a whole new meaning to Jesus fucking Christ, am I right?
You know that's right, babe. Rrr.
Gross.
A shin show.
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 All right. Hey, can we let Elsie finish eating her ice
Oh
cream?
my god, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like, I don't know what it sounds like. It doesn't sound
It sounds
good.
like she's performing fellatio. It's all right,
I
man.
do feel like we owe this.
It is what it is.
I mean, we did. Look, you've completely derailed me.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well,
I calls it like I hears it.
so this is the Afghanistan victory episode that is featuring...
Sweet.
Yeah, sweet, sweet victory. You know what I'd like you to do, Nick? Give me your 50s voice. Victory in Afghanistan. The Taliban now are friends. We fly home.
Well, you pretty much did it right there. That's a pretty good one.
I guess it was.
America has won again, bringing democracy to the Afghani people. The Taliban, now our friends, have shown great leniency and are taking over the government for a better tomorrow in Afghanistan.
You've hit it right on the head, son. That's exactly what's happening there. In fact, we should all be very proud of our role in bringing back the Taliban, which is the ultimate fulfillment of our mission.
Bring back the Taliban.
The Taliban, God, no wait, Allah shed his grace on thee.
Yes, so that's what's happening in Afghanistan is our new good friends, the Taliban, are in charge. And in fairness, you know, they didn't obey by the terms of the peace treaty, but we did sign a peace treaty with those motherfuckers not that long ago. And so, you know...
And it never went over well.
It never went over well. What do you mean?
I mean, like, it was never honored.
Not by the Taliban, no.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, wasn't it honored for like 12 hours or some shit?
This happens. These things happen. You make a little peace treaty to get everyone to chill, put their dicks away, and then as soon as everyone goes home, dicks out.
But no, yeah, nobody's dick is really put away. It's just like there was a sheet thrown over
They're
it.
putting it over their wrist and pretending it's a watch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Doing the whole whoopsie made you look.
Yeah, dicks out for the Taliban.
Here's a question. Does anyone think that anyone in government anywhere actually whiteboarded out this end escape plan at all? Do you think they just ordered pizza and drank alcohol till they passed out and just said,
Yeah.
no.
fuck it. Just let
They
shit
put on
happen.
Celebrate by whoever the fuck that is. Celebrate. And they're like, we did it. Pop the champagne.
Absolutely not. Now, this is there was meticulous planning, like for years probably. Like this just shows the clear ineptitude of bureaucracy.
Here's what it was. The Joint Chiefs of Staff got together in the panic room because they just, even when it's not a panic situation, they like to meet there because it's cool.
Hey, what does
And
that
what
mean?
else are you going to, what?
What the fuck does the job title Joint Chiefs of Staff the fuck mean?
I'm going to defer to Dad on this one.
Well, that's a good question. And the answer is actually defined in public law, who the Joint Chiefs of Staff are and what their responsibilities are. And you know what? The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff primary responsibility is to provide good military advice to the commander-in-chief. That's what his primary job is. And then the other members of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, which include the Chief of Staff of the Air Force, the Chief of Staff of the Army, the Chief of Staff of the Space Force, the Chief of Space Operations, if you will, the Chief of the National Guard Bureau, and the Commander-in-Chief of the Navy. All of those people make up the Commandant of the Marine Corps. It's really a cast of thousands, becoming a cast of thousands. Anyway, they make up the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and they provide their advice to the chairman, and the chairman decides blah, blah, blah.
And who is the official food taste tester of the U.S.? What department is he under?
Well, hold on. Let's set this up here because I was talking. Have you seen the executive chef of the White House?
Have I seen him personally?
Do you know? Yeah. Do you know what he looks like?
No, I don't.
Motherfucker is yoked. He's huge. He's fucking huge.
He gives The Rock a run for his money.
Yes, big time. Big time. And I guarantee you this much. You know, I don't know what you got to do to become the executive chef of the White House, but when you look like that, you've killed a man. You know what I mean? at least once.
It's in the way you hold your pinkies.
You see him, he's holding a little fucking spatula and an egg, like an egg.
It's comical.
A frying pan with an egg in it, and you see this look in his eyes as he's fucking turning this egg into, whatever. And you're like, those eyes have seen action. You know what I mean? This guy's seen action. And then me and Sarah got talking about, like, is there, so he's the executive chef, so I'm sure he oversees all the food that goes out. Is there a taste tester? Food taster?
I don't think there's a food tester, and I don't know about like the personal chef to the Bidens or if they even have one. I would assume they do. But actually, food at the White House is provided by the Navy. So this
That's
big
not
guy.
true. The guy's got to buy it. The president has to buy groceries for the White House. That's true.
But they also have a chef in the White House that makes food for all the people that like work there during the day. They have a
I see.
restaurant in there.
Yeah, that's right. That White House
and it's
restaurant.
run by the Navy.
Oh, that's true. We saw that ourselves.
Yeah, with my own eyes. But you're trying to tell me I'm wrong.
Well,
which
Trying
is
to
cute.
gaslight her, dude.
I know I arranged this time for my friend to take you to the White House, but do not think that you saw shit, bitch.
Speaking of men gaslighting, actually that has nothing to do with the topic at hand, but this is a purely woman's corner here. Elsie, have you ever used menstrual cups?
No, I have not.
Okay. Well, let me just tell you,
This is not.
for the men on the podcast here, it's this little silicone cup that you use in place of a tampon.
Sure.
It's eco-friendly, except when you put it inside you, okay, you fold it up and it's supposed to just like open and be cool or whatever, but sometimes it doesn't, okay, and sometimes it's like 5-10 minutes later and you feel this little pop, okay, and it is the most uncomfortable, like, and if you're in the middle of a meeting, what do you say? You can't just be like, oh, like, just
Tell them the truth.
bro,
Just get up and explain in great detail.
this exact conversation.
Yeah.
Be like, okay, so this is the position in which you hold your hand as you insert it
During
into
a
your
meeting,
vagina.
this happened.
It's happened.
You should have been like, whoever was talking, you should have been like, hey, excuse me, can I stop you right there? Can I have everyone's attention?
I'm so glad that I have your attention. Here's a presentation.
Yeah, I
that
have
I
a
prepared for this
small
moment.
presentation of my own that I have to give now.
Right now.
Okay. By the way, this guy was not the executive chef. He was just a chef at the White House.
Well, he didn't
and a
work
military veteran. He
Okay.
worked in the White House as a chef for 4 administrations. His name is Andre Rush,
Okay.
retired Master Sergeant of the U.S. Army.
Okay. He's a retired E8. Gotcha.
Yes.
And so he just looks yoked and used to cook for the White House, and so therefore we're obsessed with him.
Well, I thought he was the big main chef. This is what he looks like.
That's The Rock's baby daddy.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've seen this guy before.
Yeah.
I bet he can
Yeah.
smell what the Rock's cooking.
Yeah. I think he would kick the shit out of The Rock. This dude's seen action.
Okay.
You know?
Well, that's no guarantee. Just because you've been in combat is no guarantee that you are some sort of better fighter than any other human being.
Then
That much I
Dwayne
can
The
tell
Rock
you.
Johnson.
I think he is a better fight. Like Dwayne The Rock Johnson was a pro wrestler. He's jacked as fuck, sure. But, this
But
guy was he's like for sure has had at least formal training.
Yeah,
You
but
know what I
has
mean?
but has he ever led a jungle cruise?
That I don't know. He's certainly never been to Jumanji, so maybe I'm talking out of my ass.
Has he ever encountered the Scorpion King?
No, and The Rock is the Scorpion King, as we all know. And
You don't want to.
here's a fun little update.
Yeah.
So that call that I received last week on the podcast.
Previously on a Shin show.
I'm sorry?
I need you to prove to me that you work for Cox.
Like, so we are authorized retailers of Cox Communication. And
Prove that.
we are, like, you can ask me, like, I will, like, give you the answer.
What's
to that.
something only Cox would know?
I'm sorry?
Yes.
Where Dad put that corny as fuck laugh track on it.
You didn't like that, huh? I'm
That's
sorry.
Consult me next time before you do that, please.
Murphy liked it.
The laugh track goes on things that aren't supposed to be funny. That was supposed to be funny. You know what I mean?
It was to cover up me whispering furiously in the background.
The laugh
Shut
track-
Up, shut up. Hang up. Hang up. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Shut up.
Detracts from the anyway. It doesn't matter because he got the last laugh because that man stole $300 from me. Well, he stole $40 from me and then about $260 from the bank. So
Right, because 40 is what you had in your account.
yeah, $40 is what I had in my bank account. He withdrew $300, two $150 payments. So we got 40 of mine and 260 of the bank's.
Did you dispute it?
Yeah, I went to the bank and
Like,
put
I
my
don't know
card on
them.
the table and I was like, go ahead and cancel this. First off. Second off, someone stole money from us. Us. We're in this together.
Yeah. You went that angle.
Yeah.
Nice.
Smart, too. Well,
Yeah.
I'm sorry you didn't like the laugh track. I kind of enjoyed it, but sorry. Sometimes I go overboard on the production. You know this.
Don't
Yeah.
apologize to him. Stand your ground.
Me?
Well,
Why should I stand up for myself? I'm a doormat. Hey, listen, this whole Afghanistan thing,
he likes that.
what do I like, being a doormat?
Yeah.
Are you talking like I'm a dominant, I'm a sub? Is that what you're saying?
Well,
Why do you know
I didn't
that
want to
word?
go there.
Why do you know that word?
But do not ask questions you're not prepared to hear the answer for. Okay? You're
real-
not ready.
the
Neither
real-
am I.
Don't make
real
assumptions
question.
you're ready to be corrected on.
When you
The
you
real
ask
question.
questions of the void answers them.
The real question is how breedable. Is he a breedable submissive?
Okay. All right. All right.
I do believe that's the first time I've made Mickey beans uncomfortable.
Yuck. Rooney.
He's-
Holy shit. Okay.
He's real dominant, though, just so you know.
Let's go back to the Taliban, shall we? Let's go back to the terrorists.
Yeah, something a little
And
more
not just the
comfortable.
one sitting next to you.
Yeah. Not just the emotional one sitting next to me. Emotional fucking terrorist. I know my rights.
Yeah. Well, I will say this about the Afghanistan project.
She loves it. Look at her over here.
Oh, yeah, she does.
I'm sorry, Dad.
That's all right, man. This is better than what I have to say about Afghanistan, which is that the bottom line is we had one of two options. Option one was do what we needed to do and get the fuck out. Option two was stay forever.
What was do what we needed to do exactly?
Kill Osama bin Laden.
We killed Osama bin Laden, but then we didn't get the fuck out for another
Yeah, another
long
10 years.
time.
Another 10 years. I was there
Yeah.
when we got Osama bin Laden. I've had that
You were?
conversation. Of course I was. And
What do you mean? Of
Oh, yeah,
course,
I
of
know,
course I
right?
was. I was on
Duh.
SEAL Team 6, dumbass. Of
you know this.
course he was. Of course I was over there when he died. If I'm in Afghanistan, Osama bin Laden's going down.
Damn right.
Dumbass.
Well, that's my
We
point.
got him.
That's my point, son. We were winning when I left. Okay? We were winning when I left. What happened?
Poppy and oil, I'm going to have to say.
You say that, but actually there's no oil in Afghanistan, not a bit of it. Although there is a pipeline now that's going to go through now that we've left.
Oh, well, I'm sure that's just a coincidence.
Actually, China's quite happy about our departure. Most of the people in the region are breathing a sigh of relief, to be perfectly candid. Russia's laughing at us. They think
Except
it's
all the
hilarious.
women who live
Oh,
there
my
and the
God.
people who live there.
Well,
Right.
it's horrifying, man. But we had to do one of those two things. Either end it early or stay forever. Any middle ground was going to be a failure. And the reality is that it was almost always going to be a failure anyway. So it's
You know
very
what I
unfortunate.
says?
What's that?
I mean, look, this is a little insensitive to people who gave blood, sweat, and tears over there. But, we shouldn't have been over there in the first place. We left, and now the fucking Taliban took over. You know what I say? Good. Let them do whatever. Let's fuck off collectively, shall we? Didn't George Washington want us to mind our own fucking business? Wasn't that one of the things? Like, hey, we should make sure we're good before we...
That's paragraph 5, sentence 3 of the Declaration.
Sure. I'm pretty sure that was his stance.
It
George
was his
Washington was
stance.
that we should not be fucking with other people.
Of course, we immediately were entangled in
Yeah.
foreign wars, immediately, including in the
course.
Middle East. One of the first wars we were ever involved in was against the Barbary pirates of North Africa, also known as the Middle East. And so we've been involved in the Middle East since our inception as an independent nation.
You know, it's interesting that the Middle East used to be the hub of culture and technology.
The
and,
cradle of humanity.
well, that's Africa, but Islam was like the number one enlightened. It's, back then it wasn't Afghanistan and Iraq and Iran did not exist. It was just kingdoms
The
like
Ottoman Empire?
Yes.
yeah.
I mean, Suleiman, I don't
By
know.
the time the Ottoman Empire came around, though, the Mongols had completely obliterated the Middle East and left it too depopulated to ever recover. I mean, it was literally Genghis Khan and his goons that came over and fucked the Middle East so bad that it's like it is today. They had very complex irrigation systems. Scholars from all over the world would come to the Khwarezmian Shah's empire that's where you went for arithmetic, philosophy, physics, all that kind of shit.
It's true.
Stunted as it was at the time.
Baghdad was founded in 762 after the Common Era began. That's
762 BCE, like before
I think
before Christ.
No, 762 CE. Baghdad was founded in 762.
founded when the years started going upwards.
Yes, that's what I
Yeah.
think. And so that was founded, though, by Islamicists, by Mohammedans, as we once would have called them.
Yeah, that was the place to be. That was the most, well,
You
I don't
know-
know about the most advanced, sophisticated. China kind of had that on lock, but the Middle East was like a sprawling bastion with huge cities,
Huge tracts of land. And
large tracts of
Huge.
land.
right.
Yeah.
A lot
And then
of-
the Mongols came and destroyed it, and now we got the Taliban.
Well, they killed all the flying carpets. So that happened. Anyway, no, what's happened in Afghanistan is a tragedy. What's even worse of a tragedy is the absolute failure to foresee or to prepare for the fast collapse of the Afghan National Army.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
I mean, the fact that we didn't see that coming, what does that
We
tell you?
did. We did, though. Come on, man. Everybody knew as soon as it seemed like there was no other option, as Android 16 would say.
Yes, it was, in fact, an overwhelming sense of inevitability. The Taliban had all the initiative. They had all of the mobility. They had, wherever they went, the Afghan National Army and Afghan National Police disappeared. And so the Taliban is going to be the recipient of billions and billions of dollars worth of U.S. equipment. In fact, they already are. So congratulations to the U.S. We've armed the Taliban a second time. First, we armed them as mujahideen during the conflict against the Soviet Union, and now we have armed the Taliban on our way out the door of Afghanistan. Smart move, U.S.
USA, USA.
Yeah. What is the worst that's going to happen if we just let them eat themselves alive over there? You know what I mean? Can we just leave them alone? Can we let them be an ass backwards hellhole?
Yeah, we could have done that. That we just, man, you can get into all of the ways that we fucked up the response to 9/11. You can go.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah, if it was really about destroying the terrorists who committed this act completely alone and uninfluenced by anyone else on us, then, why would we not just turn that whole goddamn fucking country into a parking lot immediately afterwards? But it's not about that, is it? Maybe, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm saying, I'm not even talking about how we could have done it differently in the past. I'm just saying we are where we are now. Let's let them eat themselves alive. Like, they don't give it. We don't import or export anything on the books from them, Do we? You said there's no oil over there. All they got is poppy and weed. All they have is drugs.
I've been against us being there since the day we arrived, and I am so glad the day is finally here, and I'm super sad in a lot of ways that shit went down the way it did with that poor plane and all those people running around it and after it. But honestly, to me, that was just like, yes, the whole world needs to know exactly what a clusterfuck this has been since day one and every day since day one until today. You're welcome, world.
But you bring up an excellent point. You asked earlier, what is the role of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs? And that's my question. Where was Mark Milley? What kind of advice did chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, give to Joe Biden about this situation? Jesus Christ. Didn't somebody tell him, hey, we have to be prepared to roll into Kabul and secure the airport? We're going to have to do that and secure some routes to the airport to ensure
Where was the
safe
intelligence?
passage. I mean, Jesus
They were
Christ.
probably like, what do we got? 10, 12,000 Americans over there? Fuck them.
What? Yeah, except for the fact that like in the first however many years of the Iraqi war, there was only like 4,000 soldiers. I say only. I'm not trying to.
I'm talking about
not trying-
civilians.
I know, but I'm not trying to minimize the losses that we sustained. Except that
There weren't that many.
That's my point. Is that 12,000 is 3 times as many soldiers that we lost in the first decade
You
of.
say, I'm not trying to minimize, and I immediately minimize it.
Well, that's you, nummy.
No, they're not going to let 12,000 Americans or however many in Afghanistan rot in Afghanistan. What they might do, though, is leave behind a lot of Afghans who put a lot of skin in the game. That might happen.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some people who get really, really hurt by our hasty departure. Families that are going to be wiped out. That are going to have their parents killed. And, we're going to see a lot of Afghan orphans as a result of this. So,
Sure.
Yeah, I did see a Times article that said that Europe is preparing to have an influx of Afghani refugees.
Sure. I mean, what we care about, warlords killing people now, like just because it's in Afghanistan. This shit has been happening in Africa and, parts of the Eurasian landscape for a long, long time. Why do we only care when it happens in the Middle East? If it's on the principle alone that warlords are taking over governments and killing people indiscriminately, then we've got a lot of fucking work all over the planet to do. Oh,
Yeah,
wait, but we're
but-
not doing that, are we? Because it's not in the Middle East.
We didn't have boots on ground is kind of the
can have-
biggest thing right now.
I mean, we can have boots on ground anywhere at any time.
Sure,
you know?
but we didn't. You know what I mean?
Well, that's my point exactly. Why if the problem is, it's warlords killing people for whatever stupid reason, we need to go stop that. Well, that's happening in a lot of fucking places. Just as bad, if not worse than Afghanistan. Well, I don't know about worse. I mean, Afghanistan's pretty much
Hey, Dad, where else have we strategically retreated like this other than Vietnam?
How about Iraq? I mean, we're not really in Iraq anymore. We're barely in Syria. I mean, we have a presence in Iraq, but it's not what it once was. We've retreated strategically like this really only a few other times in our history.
Why do we even need to be in Iraq? Why do we need to be over there? What good is coming from us being there? What do we bring? Are we bringing in money? What's happening?
Well, the reality is that we need to secure the Middle East, relatively speaking. Freedom of navigation is a big deal. It's really naval power that's most important in the Middle East to keep open freedom of oil movement through the Suez Canal for Europe. That's our most important function in the Middle East.
For Europe? Why do we got to do? Why? Let's
Because
let Europe handle it.
Because Europe's our allies. We're not.
They're helpless. They got no
we are
military.
we are not the only ones over there, dude.
We're
We're not the only ones over there.
Then why do we need to be over there at all?
We have the biggest Navy in the world. We protect shipping across the world. Someone has to take on that responsibility. It was FDR's hope at the end of World War II that the United Nations could take on some of these policing functions. But for a whole variety of reasons, that hasn't worked out. And so we remain a world in which one country tends to take on the lion's share of the world policing. And
yeah, the UN disappointed mainly due to the fact that their main operation what is that called? Apparatus
modus
operandi.
Modus operandi. Yeah, the UN's modus operandi is just to kidnap and rape any child who's, whatever country they're going to quote unquote help.
But it goes two ways, right? So I think many Americans kind of feel safe at night knowing that we got the biggest, baddest, military out there, and we get to not really worry about some other country coming and bombing us or shit like that. It's just not really part of our culture because we got the biggest, baddest military. Well, with great power comes great responsibility.
With great power comes great responsibility. Trust. Well, no, I don't think anybody has to worry too much about getting bombed because me and Dad were just having this conversation earlier off air. But just because everyone's got nukes, it's all a big Mexican standoff. You know what I mean? We got relative world peace at gunpoint,
I'll just say one more thing about Afghanistan, which is that this was highly predictable. I just read an article today about a guy named Richard Holbrooke who negotiated the Dayton Peace Accords, which ended the war in Bosnia in 1995. And he had been a
Bosnian genocide, shout out.
That's right. And he had successfully ended that conflict, but he had made a recommendation to Lyndon Johnson back in 1967, which said, hey, man, you've got to get out of here. You cannot go forward. Lyndon Johnson, there's no indication he ever actually saw this recommendation. Well, Obama in 2009 did this review.
Hold on. He said you got to get out of
Vietnam. He did a review for Lyndon Johnson about Vietnam in 1967.
So this guy, after he negotiated peace in Bosnia, was like, hey, I can't negotiate peace in Vietnam. We just got to get out of here.
Sorry.
I know what it takes to negotiate peace. This is not going to happen here.
I'm going to start all over. There's a guy named Richard Holbrooke who ended his career during the Obama administration. He began his career during the administration of Lyndon Johnson, and his first job with the State Department was in a remote location in Vietnam. And he learned very quickly that Vietnam was unwinnable. Eventually, he made his way through the ranks of the State Department and was in a position to write a memo to Lyndon Baines Johnson saying, the war in Vietnam is unwinnable. Do not stake your presidency on it. You'll lose. And there's no indication that Lyndon Johnson ever actually read the memo. There was no response from the White House. And, of course, Lyndon Johnson ultimately did lose the White House because of the failure to win in Vietnam. And so Holbrooke then goes on to negotiate the Dayton Peace Accords in 1995 that end the war in Bosnia. Bosnian genocide's a shout-out. And
I had it backwards. Okay.
yes, exactly. And then he's on Clinton's staff when Obama becomes president. So he's been in the State Department by this time 40 years.
Well, wait, what about the George W. Bush years, dear?
Obama, when he came into office, undertook a major review of Afghanistan policy. In fact, it was that policy that ended up getting me sent to Afghanistan. But at the time that he was undertaking this policy, he appointed Richard Holbrooke as his special representative to Afghanistan. So Holbrooke goes over there, and he recommends to Obama not to do this troop increase. Stanley McChrystal is saying, hey, we need a 40,000 plus up in troops. We're going to do classic counterinsurgency. And Holbrooke is telling Obama, Afghanistan is Vietnam all over again. But guess what? Obama didn't want to fucking hear that. He's like, Vietnam's over. This is not Vietnam. This is Afghanistan. Totally different. And it turns out that...
And the guy's like, yeah, it's totally different, except for how it's exactly the same.
It's totally different. Ron Howard's voice. It wasn't.
Exactly. And so he was warned, Obama was. Holbrooke told him, don't do this. And...
Do you guys think Holbrooke was cursed?
This fucking guy, he's like, why do you guys pay me? What do you hire me for? You ask me to give you my advice. I give you my advice. You tell me to get bent. And you lose wars because of it.
I'm in the middle of doing some audit prep at work, and I do believe that's Howard is just the policy. You have to have the policy on the books. Whether or not you actually follow it is up to the auditors.
Sure,
type
yeah.
situation.
You gotta have,
he is the policy.
You're supposed to have someone come in and give their professional opinion. You don't necessarily have to listen to that professional opinion. You just have to have it.
All right.
Well, what we could have done, rather than just pull everything out also, is we could have said at that point, we're just going to keep 10,000 troops in Afghanistan forever. We'll prop up the government forever, and we'll just have this low-grade thing where someone gets killed once in a while forever. And just made that statement. Guess what? The American public wouldn't care. The American public hasn't cared about Afghanistan until they saw some soccer kid from Afghanistan falling off the wing of a C-17. Then they care. Then they care. Oh, shit. Oh, wow, there's big crowds. Oh, wow, the government's fallen. What were we been doing in Afghanistan for the last 20 years? I don't know. I haven't been paying attention.
I just expect my dad to explain everything to me.
And also, it's not like the government's been ultra transparent about our goings on there.
No shit.
Well, that's a good point. I'll tell you what, if you'd really like to know why we failed in Afghanistan, all the technical reasons, you should read the Special Inspector General for Afghanistan Reconstruction final report. He issued 11 reports. The 11th came out on August 16th, and I've read every word of it. And I can tell you that he's right as far as it goes. He tells all the things we did wrong. But what he doesn't say is that there was never a military leader that was held accountable for our poor leadership in Afghanistan. Not one. Every single military leader that went there, that didn't sexually harass somebody, every single military leader that went there got a Bronze Star and a pat on the back, and everything's okay. Well, guess what? We lost, motherfucker, and not a single general has been held accountable for our failure.
These things describe to me a pattern that since I've been on this huge kick, this ancient civilization kick, you start to see these things happen. Like, first, the military launches these ridiculous, unwinnable campaigns. Then nobody's held accountable for their failures. Even when you fail, you spin it so that you didn't. Because propaganda's been around for as long as there's been military.
As long as we could fucking talk.
Yeah, okay? And you spin it so that nobody's at fault here because we did. You know what? Matter of fact, we didn't lose. This wasn't a failure. It was just it didn't go quite according to plan. And these kind of things are indicative.
Easy to do when, to Elsie's point, the plan's not clearly defined.
How
do you measure success if the measures of success are never defined?
Yes,
We're constantly
and also,
shifting.
yeah, and if the whole reason that we're over there is predicated on what could very possibly be a lie in the first place, jury's still out on that.
Are you talking about the 9/11 was an inside job theory?
Listen, I'm not saying that the American government conducted 9/11. Okay, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying maybe they knew some shit was going to happen and said, the Bay of Tonkin didn't work out.
Just kind of close their eyes to
Yeah, listen, we can't just lie anymore that we've been attacked. People have to die, Some American blood has to be spilled on American soil. That way, when we, want to get the war machine rolling again, get some revenue coming in, we can say, look what these motherfuckers did to us. Is that what happened? I don't know. I'm a dumbass. I don't know.
Side note.
If I was in the government and I really wanted to get into Afghanistan, that's what I'd do. If someone told me to figure out a way to get over there and get everyone in the American public on board, because everyone was, when it was, oh, these terrorists attacked us, we got to go get them. Everyone in America had the American flag out the fucking window and was like, let's go get them.
As a side note, I watched The Princess Bride for the first time in since I was a child.
Great movie.
Yeah,
So
and
good.
and Prince Humperdinck or whatever is like, war is great for profits or something along those lines.
Yes, it is.
Engineers the whole thing to kidnap Princess Buttercup, all that kind of good shit.
There's a lot of
It's
stuff.
the exact same thing.
War gives you stuff, booty, loot. The people like that. Entire militaries are predicated on we're going to get more stuff. And if you want these militaries to stay together, you need more stuff. You want more stuff, you got to go take it. And everybody's done that. It doesn't always look like it. Like when Napoleon was spreading Republican values across Europe, it didn't necessarily look like he was looting, but that's what he was doing. You know what I mean? Sacking these cities and taking all their shit.
Well, the Russians did to Napoleon through terrain what the Taliban did to the U.S. Armed Forces through time. So
And also terrain.
And also terrain. But they could wait us out, man. They had a safe haven in Pakistan, and that's just what they did. I'll never forget, man. I talked to the veterinarian for it was Kunar province, Dr. Ghalib Muhammad, or Muhammad Ghalib, rather.
How gruesome was that? Do you think being a veteran's nasty in America, dude? Being a vet in Afghanistan? Gruesome, I'm sure.
There were some sick animals over there for sure. But that's another story. The bottom line, though, is I asked him, hey, what would it take to win here, do you think? You know what he said to me? My friend, you're in the wrong country. He pointed over to Pakistan, which is 2 kilometers away. And,
Yeah.
and that is a factor. You can't win a counterinsurgency campaign when the enemy has safe harbor next door.
Yeah.
So that made it impossible to do what we were going to do. And that was the primary point of the cigar report, right? The number one finding was that in terms of strategy, our desired ends were not aligned with the ways that we were trying to achieve them or the means that we had at our disposal to do it. So when your ways and means aren't aligned with your desired end state, guess what's going to happen? Failure.
I was gonna say the collapse of the government you're trying to install.
Defeat. That's what's going to happen. And that's what did happen. We never figured out our strategy. We never understood why we were there. We never knew what we were doing. And you know what we did? We poured
Untold and uncountable resources.
Well, we spent
some trillions of dollars.
According to the cigar, we have spent thus far $6.7 trillion in costs in Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Iraq.
Trillions of dollars. It's, a trillion of anything is challenges the human mind to comprehend. Like you can't even
Incomprehensible.
we throw these words around, these numbers around, but like
Inconceivable.
inconceivable.
Inconceivable!
Hey, did you know that Oh Brother Where Art Thou is free on YouTube?
I am the only daddy you got. I am the damn paterfamilias.
To get back to his wife and kids, Ulysses Everett McGill will do anything.
Hey, any boy, Smithies.
But he's about to get off on the wrong track.
Who elected you leader of this outfit? Well, Pete, I figured it should be the one with the capacity for abstract thought.
You just get on YouTube, type in Oh Brother Where Art Thou. Whole movie's free.
Damn.
YouTube's been releasing a shitload of free movies. I've started watching it.
Is it free
Great.
or is it on YouTube Premium?
No, it's free.
Well, that's a
It's
great
free.
movie. That's a great movie. I recommend
Yeah,
it.
it's great, dude. Full of great one-liners. Awesome movie. Idiocracy is also
Yeah, we talked
on
about
there
that
for free.
last week. Oh, it's on there for free.
yes. That whole thing, the whole spiel I gave about how stupidity is rewarded and
Yeah.
that's like literally the intro. You should have just, not that you would have known to do this, but just cut that what I set out and just put in the intro, like literally the first 3.5 minutes to Idiocracy. 'Cause-
Did he
Yeah, I
do that?
should have.
No, he didn't, but I didn't tell him to do it. So
Yeah, we're not
Man.
collaborating as closely as we used to, son. We're both
Been busy.
You have been busy. Congratulations on your recent move, by the way. Moving is as stressful as losing a cat.
marriage.
It's what brings us together today.
Who said anything about marriage? I said moving.
It's stressful though, and it's fun to say it like that. Marriage.
Marriage. It is stressful. You're right. Can be. Marriage can be.
He's divorcing his current apartment.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is I just threw 90% of my shit away. You want to make moving easier? Just instead of moving, throw all your shit away.
I agree
You
with
know?
that. I agree with that philosophy. I really do.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I did in 2015. I moved on base from off base, and I got rid of 90% of my shit. It was
Yeah,
great.
you just
To
yeah, I
include a
don't
wife.
need it.
To include a wife. That's cruel, but true. Wow.
Got him.
Zing, says the current wife. I wasn't expecting that one, I have to say.
Sucker.
That's pretty good. That's something I would say. Yeah, throw away all your shit. The only thing is on Earth, the material possessions I care about are my TV and my PlayStation and this laptop. That's it.
Great. Well, I'm glad you got those secured, and I hope this leads to a less stressful lifestyle for a while in a different place.
I think it will.
I think so, too.
I'm
really
squatting in Sarah's house.
Well, that's
You're
fine.
paying rent.
Yeah, I'm
Gross,
paying
pick
rent,
up.
but I can still squat.
I know how.
Yeah, I can still physically squat.
Sure. I'm glad you're doing that. I'm glad you're squatting. That's good for your limberness, your flexibility.
Yeah,
Good glutes, you know?
yeah.
It has nothing to do with flexibility. Yeah, that's all strength work.
Diamond glutes.
Yeah.
Ouch. Don't snuggle. I've got diamond glutes.
I've got diamond glutes that'll cut right through flesh like a hot butter through soft cheese.
Like a hot butter through soft cheese.
Hot knife. Hot knife. That's what I meant. Cut that out.
No, I'm
Cut that out.
Oh,
please.
no.
nonsense.
That shit stays.
I will fully expect that to be cut out.
Mhm.
Nice
I
to
will be
expect
listening.
things.
Funny when expectations just don't match reality, aren't
I
they?
will
You
be
got
listening.
shit in one hand and want in the other.
Hey, so final point about Afghanistan, which is this. Sarah and Nick, I apologize to you for spending 15 months of your childhood away from you in pursuit of what was undoubtedly a fool's errand.
And
And-
yet,
You know,
it's
this is a
paying for
really-
your college today, Nick. So you're welcome.
Yeah. It's all
This
right.
is a really interesting take that you've decided to go down. Like, why are you personally why
Why do you feel personally
No.
responsible
He
for?
doesn't feel it. He just wants to express some level of humility, false humility, maybe. I'm not entirely
He wants
sure.
you to thank him for his service.
Is that what this is? Is this, like, I know there's
Yes.
an angle here. I
Oh my
I
God,
haven't
it's
figured it
always
out
the
yet.
angle.
He's doing the jerk off motion the whole time.
Like
He's
you-
like, "Oh, I'm
the
I'm
slow
so
jerk.
sorry
The
that I
slow
was
jerk,
over
yeah.
there.
Like, you do know that I was in college, right? As you did that, like,
So sorry that I,
Yeah,
had to
she
go
didn't
over
give a
there."
shit, okay? Oh, you went and did your job. Great, Dad. Thanks.
So I just want to apologize that I was over there and was a brave American that fought for your rights. I just want to
I want
apologize,
to apologize for the campaign I put together that eventually did win me an Emmy.
for that. You know this thing that we're yeah, and I have an Emmy, by the way. I don't know if you know that, but this thing we're doing, this whole freedom of speech.
Oh my
Well, I just want
God.
to personally apologize for fighting for that overseas in the Middle East.
But I'd
I'm
also like
sorry.
to
during your
thank me.
fundamental growth.
I'm sorry that I did that for you.
You're welcome.
All is forgiven?
That's the cake, is that Dad is now going to forgive himself
Now he's forgiving. Yeah.
on our behalf.
Now we're welcome that he's sorry that he
And
got
just to
to.
close that masturbatory circle.
We're bringing it back in. And completion. We have reached completion.
You all suck.
Look,
Like, what are you trying to be sincere here? Because
when I was in, Dad was gone he was in Afghanistan when I was a freshman in high school, and there was this teacher who really wanted my behavioral problems to be because Dad was in Afghanistan. You know what I mean?
instead of you being just a little jerk.
Dickhead,
Yeah.
yeah.
Instead of the fucking dumbass counselor put me and all my friends in the same class, that's on her. You know what I mean? Like,
That is a mistake.
I own no responsibility for my actions.
Mrs. Hahn was her name, who was old and would wear a thong all the time. Like,
Nice.
yeah,
Gross.
yeah. I was like, what are you doing here? Are you like
Anyway, not
passively
the point.
sexually
Love
assaulting
child.
us?
Okay, she was a free child. Okay, be glad she was wearing anything.
Not the point. Dad's gone. You're
look,
shit.
Anyway,
What's
yeah,
going
so
on?
I would just act a fool in that class, and she would keep me after class, and she would cry about how sad it was for me that my dad was gone. She would seriously break into tears, like, I'm just,
Do you
been
think
acting up a lot, and I know maybe it's your father's gone overseas, and it must be so hard for you. And I'm like, okay, all right, I'm a jackass.
You're like
That's all it is.
You're like, my dad left.
Yeah.
Like 15 years ago, lady. What do you want from me?
do you think she was coming on to you?
Maybe. You know
Trying
what?
to manipulate you into maybe comforting
In
her or
retrospect.
crying together, or next thing you
Maybe.
know, tongues are all over the place.
Oh, yuck.
Hot, passionate HTML.
Yes. She was wearing that thong for you, baby.
That's
Yeah.
I'm about to code
Yuck.
you.
Elsie's been in a real freaky space lately, okay? Don't worry about it. Just don't pay any attention to her, okay?
Elsie,
So
blink twice if you need some external fucking stimulation. You know what I mean? Like,
blink twice if Dad has a knife to your back and is making you say all this.
no.
well, anyway, look, the point here is simply that you don't seem like you were that broken up over that lost year of our relationship. But
it wasn't a lost year. You came back halfway through. We went to New York, you know?
That's true.
Fine.
We saw Bill Hader. Remember that?
Well, I did. No one else did. I also saw John Oliver.
We both did. You and I together saw both of those people.
No, everybody else walked by. I remember specifically being like looking at the group that I was in, walking ahead, not even acknowledging. I'm like, did nobody? That was John fucking Oliver. That was Bill fucking Hader.
Yeah, we saw those people together.
Yeah, you, Dad was there with you at least for one of those people because I.
No, he was there, but they just kept walking.
But I distinctly remember that I was like, who the fuck is Bill Hader?
Are you saying that we should have accosted Bill Hader and or John Oliver?
No, I'm saying you did not notice them at all until I brought it to your attention after you had already walked past.
I believe that to be true, but then I did say, oh my God, that's right. That's them.
Maybe. I feel like everyone kind of brushed me. I was like, yeah, sure. Will you pipe down back there?
I for sure brushed you off because I was like, who the fuck is Bill Hader and why do I give a shit?
But John Oliver.
I think I was excited or
He's
sad
got a
or
British
something like
accent.
He does.
You know, he was on the phone with his suitcases, had a beard, was clearly waiting for a taxi.
Was it a banana phone?
No.
A banana phone. I've seen a few celebrities in New York. I saw Jamie Sheridan. He's a minor celebrity who's on some Law and Order spinoffs. I've seen the Klitschko brothers. Now, this is way back in 2004 when they were both young and still professionally prize fighting and weren't, Ukrainian politicians. And then I also saw no one else that I can remember. But the Klitschko brothers, those were real celebrities.
All politicians should have to be former fighters.
I agree. Prize fighters.
Let's go back to that.
Hey, would you guys like to know what happened to me this week?
Yes.
So I was in a conference. I was in Atlanta for a conference earlier this week.
Hot Atlanta.
It was pretty toasty.
Yeah.
Okay. Man. Except for in the conference center where it was fucking freezing.
Naturally. There's no in between. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, were you in the conference center right outside the airport? The GCC?
No, this was the Lowe's Hotel.
Gotcha.
Lowe's has a whatever.
It's spelled different. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right.
Right. It's hotel and hardware store. You can get any kind of lumber that you want along with a good night's sleep at Lowe's Hotel and Conference Center.
I got a meeting in 5 fucking hours and there's a buzzsaw in the back. Somebody's cutting up a 2x4 back there.
It would have been more helpful if it actually had been a hardware store. Okay. So I'm freezing my nads off. And we're in a lunch break, and I'm like, I'm going to go warm up. Okay, I'm going to go walk around and warm myself up. And I walk out of the area where we're eating lunch, and I walk down the hallway, and I see a little hallway that doesn't see as much use, and I'm turning down that way because I saw some other people approaching me, and I didn't want to talk to them. So I duck off down this hallway, and then there's an exit stair, and I was like, oh, perfect. I'll go walk up and down some stairs and warm up a little. So I exit into this stairwell. And I just stand there for a minute, warming up, rubbing my little arms because I'm wearing a sleeveless dress like a fucking idiot. And I walk up a flight of stairs and I stop because emblazoned on the door in great big letters, it says, emergency exit only, no re-entry. And I'm like, uh-oh, I have made a terrible mistake. So I go up another flight of stairs because I'm like, maybe it was just that floor, right? Maybe it's just that floor. Okay, no, the next floor has emergency exit only. And so I'm like, fuck. No, okay. Maybe it's just those 2 floors, right? Okay. Surely I have not locked myself into a fucking stairwell. Okay. So I go flying in my dainty little heels down 2 flights of stairs to the door where I came out of. And nope, emergency exit only, no re-entry. So then I sit down on the top stair and have a nice little panic attack because I've left my cell phone in the conference area. I'm stuck in this fucking hallway, right? And my options at this point.
Professionally stuck.
My options at this point are to have a heart attack because I am having a legit panic attack, climb up approximately 20 flights of stairs, to get to the, because there it did say roof access, and I'm like, okay, I could get to the roof.
All right, so I'll
And
get to
then-
the roof and rappel down the side using my clothes as some sort of carbiner.
Yeah. And I'll figure out the next. What I'll do is I'll get in the AC unit, right, in the ventilation system.
I'll use my dress as a kind of wingsuit
I could have. It was a cute little kerchief dress.
and float
Aw.
down.
Yeah. Anyway, so I was like, okay, I could always, and then I was like, I'm not gonna make it 20 flights of stairs. Like, I know my physical fitness, and it is not that level. And okay, fine. That's an option, but not something I want to go through. I could break the emergency glass, okay, on this phone that says "Do not break unless under emergency," which I'm sure connects you directly to the fire department or some bullshit. Cause a heckin' scene at this professional conference I'm at.
Sure.
So that was option 2. And I was like, I could pound on this door, but it's down a service hall. But like, surely someone will eventually hear me, right? Like, surely
Sure.
somebody will hear me sobbing out of breath, help me!
Right.
So I'm in the hallway, I'm on the stairs, kind of hunched over and doing some box breathing, trying not to die. And I peek over the railing and I see this contraption, like a security gate on the floor below me.
Sure.
And it looks alarmed and all that kind of shit. And I was like, okay, well, that's option 3. I can go through this gate where it says something on the door, like, I'm thinking it's a fire exit. Again, I am probably going to get the fire department called on me, but my options here are limited. So that was the option I went with, as I went on Bambi legs down the next flight of stairs to this thing. And I'm like examining the fucking gate, like seeing where all the little alarm things are, on Windows in the home systems or whatever, you can put the home alarm things, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
There's
I
like
do.
a sensor.
Yeah, we have home alarm sensors that we don't use here.
Yeah, exactly. So there was a couple of those, and like I'm like getting down, crouching down, trying to read the fucking fine print, even though I can't read shit right now because the adrenaline is coursing through my veins.
Right, your head's pounding. It's just suspense all the way. What can I do here? Will I get arrested? Will I get out? What will happen?
Yeah.
Will I die here? I mean,
Am I going to get
understand.
fired
Sure,
for this?
You bet.
Yeah. So anyway, I was like, fuck it. And I burst through the gate, and it was very anticlimactic, except for the sheer absolute high I felt of no longer being trapped. That was great.
Sure.
And it spit me out into a parking garage, which then I had to figure out where the fuck I was and navigate some strange elevators. But I did get back into the conference center, so that was all good. I've plopped myself down at the table, and my coworker turns to me and she goes, "Are you okay? You look a little pale." And I was like, who the fuck let me off my toddler leash? Who let me go unsupervised?
You're like,
who sanctioned this?
I'm fine.
Yeah. And so then I start telling her this, and she's like, why didn't you call me? And I point to my phone, which is sitting right in front of her.
That's
She thought
why.
that was funny.
Well, you got out of that situation because you're an engineer. Good for you. That's smart. I'll tell you a similar story. When I was training to go to Afghanistan at Camp Atterbury, Indiana, there was a large walk-in freezer that somehow I found myself in. I don't even remember why I went in there now, but I went in there for some reason.
To have a good cry. It's okay. You can admit it.
Sure, maybe it might have been that. But I pulled the door shut. It was where we held our headquarters meetings. I don't know why there was a freezer in this building, but there was. Anyway, I walked in there, and I shut the door behind me for some reason. And
Because you're not a Philistine and weren't, born in a barn.
right, but I realized that I couldn't get out. I pulled and pulled on this door, and it just would not open. Well, it turns out that I needed to push.
That's pretty good. I did rattle the door that had shut behind me, desperately ignoring the no re-entry.
Right. And it didn't
But
work. In that case, ultimately, it did work for me. But I did call somebody first and say, I'm trapped in the freezer. They said, well, try pushing really hard. And then I tried pushing, and then it just opened. So that was anticlimactic. But I spent like 10 minutes in there, and I was panicking. I was getting cold. I wasn't dressed for winter.
People are dumb, panicky animals.
I'm a stupid animal. I did a lot of stupid shit in Afghanistan. I'm glad I came back alive. And I'm sorry for the people who are going to get killed now because we're leaving. I feel bad about that.
It's funny. I'm on Reddit now, and I'm seeing the post on Damn, That's Interesting. Brave Afghan women leading the march against Taliban. And I'm like, is it brave at this point?
Yeah, because it's almost certainly death.
Well, that's my point. Like, are you going to accomplish anything but like, getting yourself killed and or tortured, and not just you,
Martyrdom.
but also your family?
There's an entire religion founded on martyrdom.
But dude, what does that mean? Yeah, maybe martyrdom in Afghanistan will fix the Taliban. Maybe.
I don't know. I got to say, as a woman, if I just spent the last almost 20 years, getting to live my life like, a person with some sort of rights and human decency and respect, and then I know I'm about to spend the rest of my life like chattel, I don't know. Death seems pretty cool. Like, fuck you. I'm going to let you know that you got to shoot me in my face.
I mean, that is the entire plot of Handmaid's Tale.
Maybe,
Yes.
yeah. That's funny. I saw someone else. They're like, "This is like a Handmaid's Tale." How which I respect that kind of attitude. I would just obviously easier said than done, but I would just try to get the fuck out of there, dude. Just try to run as fast as I can.
Well, and as a white man, that's easier for you.
Well, I'm not. This is a hypothetical situation where I'm not a white man, where I'm an Afghan woman.
I see. This is really just a fantasy that you've always, you're.
If I was
cross-dressing
over there
fantasy.
as a white man, then I wouldn't be in the position where I have to not go to school. And I'm saying, as a person, let's make up a
If you
different.
had happened to be a marginalized person and your country was collapsing and you were, under the threat of persecution,
Yes,
you would
yeah.
try to run.
Yes, shit like that, like how Christian Chinese people risk re-education to be Christian. This is touchy. Like, I totally respect your willingness to die for your cause. That's respectable. I wouldn't take a hard pinch for none of you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, here's what I'll tell you is that Afghanistan has a culture of violence. Certainly the Taliban do. And the reality is that there will be some people killed. They're not gentle people.
yeah, of course. That's what I would assume, is that I'm not just me, though. Like, I'm not just going to get killed. My family, they're going to come after everybody. They're going to kill everyone who is a part of the problem, which would be me in this situation. I would just get the fuck out of there.
Well, it's
if
funny.
you can, which you can't.
It's funny you say that, though, Nick, because I had this experience myself in December of 2010. Now, I was on a mountain in eastern Afghanistan at Outpost Mace. It was the first outpost that the United States turned over to Afghan forces. And we did that right before Christmas of 2010. I was there. I documented the whole thing. And when we left, when the two choppers of infantrymen left that fob, really that outpost, it wasn't a fob. They'd been there 8.5 months, and they were leaving behind about 80 Afghans. Well, 17 of those Afghans begged us to leave. It was clear that the Afghans weren't going to be able to hold this. They couldn't keep people there that were supposed to be there.
So why did they want you to leave if they couldn't hold it?
Dude, they didn't want us to leave. We had to leave. We were already...
You just said they begged you to leave.
No, they begged us to leave with us.
Oh, okay. They begged you
makes
to
more
take
sense.
you with them.
Yes, take us
them with you.
Please,
Yeah,
please,
I thought
please.
you were saying they were begging you to leave.
No, they were begging us. Well, they were begging us, please let us leave with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
you were like, sorry.
Well, we were like, sorry, because, hey, we only have enough helicopter space for this many. No more. And I think we ended up taking like 5 or 6. That's all we had room for. But many more wanted to go. They were afraid of the Taliban. They were afraid of them 10 years ago. They were afraid of them at all times. And so there were only small elements of the Afghan armed forces that weren't afraid of the Taliban, but they respected them as fighters. And so 10 years ago, I could have told you, hey, man, we're doomed to fail. We're doomed to fail. The Afghan forces are afraid of the Taliban. They're afraid of the enemy.
Of course, the Taliban are willing to do things that are not, that other people aren't willing to do. This is the thing about, I say this like I've ever...
you have any
like I have ever
experience.
participated in any warfare of any kind, but I've studied it quite a bit, and it's about total war. It's about completely. It's not just about going over there and killing the guys, although that's a big part of it, but it's about scaring them. It's about making them not want to do this at all. Now, what does that entail? It means you got to be nasty. It means you got to. If you get a hold of, like, say, someone's family, you got to kill them. You know what I mean? It's about winning all future battles in one battle. You know
those hillbilly cannibals in all the national parks that we don't talk about?
Hills Have Eyes?
Yeah, except it's also
What?
a real thing in
Wait,
real life.
what?
Anyway,
There's real hillbilly cannibals?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
in national parks, yes.
What the fuck are you talking about here?
We'll talk about that later. But anyway, it's the same thing.
Put
you
a
can't-
pin in that,
you
because I
can't-
want to talk
you
about
can't-
that.
You can't fight that level of crazy,
Yeah. It's the Tinkerbell effect. These people believe certain things that probably aren't true, but because they believe they're true, they do real life shit that is true.
Is that what that's called? Is that?
No, I didn't. That's Dan Carlin.
I would say the Tinkerbell effect applies to all religions and all systems of faith.
Let me give you an example.
Yeah, that's real shit.
I'll give you an example. During a battle of Persia versus the Greeks, although Greece wasn't a thing, it was just a bunch of Greek city-states. Doesn't matter. The Spartans were awaiting the Spartans' allies, who were not Spartans, maybe Athenians. I don't know if they were working together at this time, but they were getting fucking stomped by the Persians, and the Spartans are supposed to come in to help. But at this time, the Spartans had like a tradition. You got to sacrifice a goat and read the entrails. And if the entrails aren't good, we can't go. You have to keep sacrificing the goat, keep reading the entrails. Their fucking buddies are dying down there. They're like, please come help us. Fucking come help us. And they're like, we can't. The entrails aren't right. Come on, give us the good entrails. Give us the good entrails. And then finally they get the good entrails and then they go help. That's the Tinkerbell effect. The fucking entrails have no bearing on whether or not you can actually go down there and help. But because they believe that it does, they don't. And that has real life effects, as in more people died because you didn't go help sooner.
Or here's a Tinkerbell effect. Listen, if we just throw money at Afghanistan, it's going to get better.
Well, I mean, that's worked before in other things. Sometimes money has won wars. Again, the Persians against the Greeks.
But that's exactly, you're proving each other's points. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm not, this was a classic. Let's just throw money at it until it works. And then it didn't.
Right.
And here we are.
The entrails were never right.
Yeah, so we'll just have to wait till 9/11 2.0 happens to get us back over there. That's all.
You think we'll last that long? Because I think climate change is going to fuck us up before then.
It won't be long.
Well,
it won't be long before some terrorist attack happens that necessitates for our safety, that we go over somewhere and do something.
I really feel like it's going to be domestic terrorism that we're going to focus on.
There's already domestic terrorism. You know, this dumb fucking redneck hick hillbilly cocksucker just tried to blow up Congress.
That's what I'm saying.
But Google took him to the Library of Congress like a fucking retard, and then
Google's the real hero here.
Yeah, he probably figured there were a lot of senators and representatives, checking out books from the Library of Congress, and then he'd blow it up there. What a dumbass.
No, he was trying to go to Congress, and then Google took him to the Library of Congress. I guarantee that's what happened. Anyway, I watched that guy's live stream, by the way. He's like, it's up to you, Joe. And I swear to God, I'm not doing a bit here. That's how he talked. It's up to you, Joe. I don't want to die today. I want to go home to see my wife. But, we got to do this. He's like, if y'all want to shoot me, I got my toolbox with, the toolbox in the back of the truck. He's like, full of ammonium nitrate. Oh, this whole thing will blow up. First off, and I explained this to Sarah, the amount of ammonium nitrate you need, like to cause a sizable explosion, you need like a fucking U-Haul full of ammonium nitrate.
Like Timothy McVeigh.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly correct. And second off, you need more than a bullet. You need a charge. You need combustion. You need a detonation. One stray bullet into a toolbox full of ammonium nitrate, maybe will blow up your truck. Maybe. You're not going to blow up Congress.
Like Timothy McVeigh did.
Like Timothy McVeigh did, because he had a fucking U-Haul full of ammonium nitrate.
And a charge.
And a charge.
And combustion.
What was this guy's demands?
He said something about, I'm standing in solidarity with my brothers in Afghanistan. People are dying over there in Afghanistan. It's up to you, Joe. He just kept saying that. It's up to you, Joe. I just want to go home see my wife. I'm like, I wonder what your wife thinks about all this.
I didn't realize that he was invoking Afghanistan. Weird.
Yeah, I don't think that was the whole thing, but it was a bullet point.
Well, he was crazy. Fuck him. Anyway, here's the bottom line. We're out of Afghanistan, and it's over at long last.
We did it.
And you know what? We won.
We did it.
We declared victory, and we went home. And good for us. That's what I say. Good for us.
Democracy wins again. Let freedom ring.
Ow!
Hell yeah! Al-Qaeda's on the run. Now we're having fun. It's from Squidbillies.
That was a close one. Hell yeah! Democracy wins again. Let freedom ring. Hell yeah! Al-Qaeda's on the run. Knock it off. Stop singing.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Love you. Bye. Proud of you.
Bye.
I have to go. I'm so late.
Bye.
A Shin Show is a production of Shinfluence. It features the voices and opinions of the Shin family, which are entirely and exclusively their own. Join us each week on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts.
Thanks as always to our regular listeners. We love to hear from you.
please email us at ashinshow@gmail.com.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.